Tucker Carlson is in Russia to interview Vladimir Putin, and the establishment could not be more afraid. That interview will be released tomorrow, and there's already so much controversy around it. The EU is considering imposing a travel ban on Tucker for so much as daring to go to Russia for these reasons. We don't even know what was discussed, and Zelensky has already put Tucker on a kill list. The liberal mainstream media and the EU are furious that a journalist flew to Russia for simply doing his job. A job to inform the American people what is going on in a war that US taxpayer dollars are funding. We're getting one side of the story with the Western media, which has been known to distort information on what is happening on the other side of the globe. And I don't think we really know what's going on in Russia or Ukraine other than what reporters here in the West are saying. Whether it's true or false, the American people deserve to hear it from the horse's mouth, and that's what Tucker is doing. According to Tucker in this clip right here, he believes the reason to do so is because the Western media's interviews with Ukrainian President Zelensky are more about supporting Ukraine rather than an objective report on what is happening.
2 years into a war that's reshaping the entire world, most Americans are not informed. They have no real idea what's happening in this region, here in Russia or 600 miles away in Ukraine. Since the day the war in Ukraine began, American media outlets have spoken to scores of people from Ukraine, and they have done scores of interviews with Ukrainian President Zelensky. We ourselves have put in a request for an interview with Zelensky, and we hope he accepts. But the interviews he's already done in the United States are not traditional interviews. They are fawning pep sessions specifically designed to amplify Zelensky's demand that the U.S. enter more deeply into a war in Eastern Europe and pay for it.
As a human being, so many people look up to you. They rely on you. No one can imagine how hard that is. Do you do anything for yourself? Are you ever able to take a minute to read or to listen to music or something to sort of give yourself that a moment?
I have such moments, important to be in silence, to be alone, and early in the morning, when there are no sounds, it's important to have sometimes at 6, 7 in the morning, some trainings.
Workout.
Yes, workouts, or to do something with music, which gives you energy for all the day.
Ew, this is so cringe. Guilty.
That is not journalism. It is government propaganda. Propaganda of the ugliest kind, the kind that kills people. Americans have a right to know all they can about a war they're implicated in, and we have the right to tell them about it because we are Americans too. Freedom of speech is our birthright. We were born with the right to say what we believe. That right cannot be taken away no matter who is in the White House.
So now the EU wants to impose sanctions on Tucker for assisting a war criminal. European Parliament member Guy Verhofstadt stated, "Putin is a war criminal, and the EU sanctions all who assist him in that effort. It seems logical that the External Action Service examine his case as well." Former MEP Luis Garciano agreed. He is no longer a newsman, but a propagandist for the most heinous regime on European soil, and the one which is most dangerous to our peace and security. For such propaganda for a criminal regime, you can end up on the list of sanctions. Well, let me ask you this. Who is really the propagandist here? The one doing the journalism or the one stopping the journalist from doing his job? The fact that this interview hasn't even been released yet and Tucker is already getting this sort of backlash makes me even more excited to watch it. They wouldn't be freaking out like this. We wouldn't be seeing Tucker on a kill list unless there was something that the Western media and Zelensky's constituents don't want you to know. This is perhaps the most important interview of Tucker's career. Elon Musk is allowing it to be posted on X, and this could give us an entirely different perspective on the war. How Tucker is getting treated is the same thing that happened to Glenn Greenwald when he discussed the possibility of biolabs in Ukraine, which got him on Ukraine's list of public figures who promote Russian propaganda. Maybe they are also trying to prevent us from gaining access to a perspective that could change the trajectory of world events. What I see the establishment doing is that they're trying to maintain a narrative that that Putin is an expansionist, insane war criminal, that his invasion from 2 years ago was completely unprovoked, and that he has rejected all calls towards peace. And the last thing that the Western media wants to introduce is a counter-narrative that what we're being told may just be a bunch of lies. That maybe after millions of people watch this interview on X, more people will realize, oh, maybe we don't need to be sending billions of dollars to the Ukraine while the southern border invasion continues. Maybe the mainstream media isn't telling the truth. I mean, they rarely do anyway. Now, I'm not saying that I support one side or the other. I just want this war to stop, for people to stop dying. I want to know the facts like the rest of us do, because there is no objective journalism without hearing all of the perspectives. Even RFK tweeted this about Tucker. The legacy media is in shambles because we've caught on to their lies and propaganda. Tucker Carlson has every right to interview Putin. We need more transparency instead of less. It used to be understood journalists would interview world leaders, even those with whom we were at war. Meanwhile, the pro-war neoconservative former chief of staff Bill Kristol said, perhaps we need a total and complete shutdown of Tucker Carlson re-entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what is going on. Obviously, a neoconservative would have that perspective, and maybe that's the agenda that Fox News was promoting. They were always more pro-war. And I think Tucker was very anti-war, and that's probably one of the reasons he was fired. Just my opinion. And of course, CNN is freaking out that MAGA Tucker is Russia's newest celebrity.
In fact, one of the leaders of the MAGA GOP is in Moscow tonight. It's the man you see here with the MAGA leader Donald Trump, Tucker Carlson. Possibly there in Moscow to interview Putin. Definitely there as a Putin-supporting celebrity.
Yeah, how dare somebody try to interview a national leader? He supports Donald Trump, so he's not going to do anything with the right intentions. CNN has even admitted that they've tried to get interviews with Putin.
Serious news outlets, including CNN, have requested Putin to interview over and over again. Over and over again. Over and over again.
So what's the real issue here? Interviewing Putin, or the fact that Tucker is doing it and CNN's not going to be there to control the narrative? There are so many questions to be asked which the Western media is ignoring that I want to hear directly from Putin. Will you accept a peace deal if Ukraine doesn't join NATO? Or if you get to keep Crimea and there's some autonomy maintained in the Donbass? What is the state of Ukrainian democracy? Is the military-industrial complex benefiting from this war? Will there be more conscriptions from the Western world? Are more people going to die? All valid topics that go against the current narrative, which I hope to see discussed in this interview. Is Tucker committing treason just for doing this? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content. Thanks for watching Inverted World.
That is not journalism. It is government propaganda.